Pike County Fiscal Court call to order. Madam Clerk, have a roll call of its members, please.
Judge Rutherford.
Present.
Magistrate Anderson.
Here.
Magistrate Johnson. Here. Magistrate Murphy. Here. Magistrate Robinson.
Here.
Magistrate Dodson. I'm sorry, Magistrate Harris.
Here.
We'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance led by Magistrate Murphy.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and with liberty and justice for all.
You have a copy of the minutes of October the 18th, 2011 in your packet. I've reviewed them, and Jeannie has reviewed them to be correct as best as we could remember. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes? Have a motion from Magistrate Murphy, have a second Magistrate Johnson, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson. Yes. Magistrate Murphy. Yes. Magistrate Robinson. Yes. Magistrate Dodson. Yes. Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. You have in your packet a copy of the minutes for the November 1, 2011 meeting of the Pike County Fiscal Court. We have reviewed those minutes. As far as we can tell, they are correct. Do I have a motion to approve? You have a motion, have a second from Magistrate Johnson, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson.
Yes.
Magistrate Murphy. Yes. Magistrate Robinson. Yes. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. First thing we want to do is give you an update in regard to the road around Fish Trap Reservoir, which leads from up to Lower Pompey. And you're aware that we received a grant from the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Governor Beshear, for $2 million for that roadway. And the engineers have been working, Pike County engineers have been working with the Corps of Engineers of Huntington District. And I need to give you an update. We called yesterday to talk with our engineers and also received a letter of November 9th, 2011, and you have a copy of that in your packet. The update is as follows. They have acknowledged a receipt of the proposed plans, and they have, of course, received those just a few months ago. They are now reviewing the environmental assessment of April 2008. The date of that assessment, they are reviewing that, and they have said in the letter they don't see any issues with it presently, which means they don't have to do a full-blown environmental assessment, which takes a number of years. Next, we have our engineers have asked permission to do core drilling. That will be the next step, and that ought to be forthcoming within the next 30 to 45 to 60 days. Once that they approve, after they get the core drilling and the design is finished, the target date set by our engineers will be May of 2012 to start construction. As all of us are aware, that we applied through our engineers to have this work done at Fish Trap Reservoir. These people have been isolated since 1968 when the dam was built. And we have said this before, but the attendance at our public school system is down considerably during the bad weather in this particular area of Pike County. People will have to drive 42 miles, where they will have to drive 12 miles once that we finally, after all the years that different administrations has worked to try to bring this to fruition. Finally, the Beshear administration and Secretary Hancock understood the problem and took action to work with the Corps. The Corps is the most bureaucratic agency of state or federal government. They're very slow in their responses, but hopefully we also have been informed that the timber appraisal will go forward, and you also have in your packet a copy of a addendum number 2. addendum number 1 because the Corps had not given permission to do addendum number 2, but now they have given permission on the timber appraisal, and they've asked for a change in regard to our budget. The figures you see on addendum number 2 on item 1 and item 2 is within the budget that's set out for this project. So what we need today is, besides this update, and anytime any magistrate wants a update, they can come to my office and I will get the people, the commissioners, directors available and meet with you. Or if you want to put it on a work session, we will set it up on a work session. That's on any project. But this project today, we need to get addendum 2 approved for me to affix my signature on it and with our engineering company, and then get it to the Corps of Engineers as we move towards finally to get a target date set for May of 2012. That will be the construction period that they look at for next year. So hopefully that we can, now we have been in continued contact with the Congressman's office asking them to get a hold of the Huntington District and ask them to please move this project forward. Those people have waited all these years, and now is an opportunity for us to get something done. Are there any questions in regard to anything that I've said, or any question on addendum number 2?
Judge, does all this total and the pricing, does that stay within the budget where we can still get everything done with the $2 million?
Yes, it's within the budget.
Okay.
It was already listed in the budget, and they requested that we not approve addendum number 2 until that they decided how the timber appraisal was going to be done.
But all construction and everything can be done after that within the budget?
It moves the project forward.
Okay.
Any other questions? Motion.
Motion.
You have a motion from Magistrate Murphy. You have a second from Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson. Magistrate Murphy.
Yes.
Magistrate Robinson. Yes. Magistrate Dodson. Magistrate Harris. Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Mr. County Attorney, you have second reading of a road ordinance.
Yes, Judge, this is a second reading, which has been duly advertised. An ordinance of the Pike County Fiscal Court adopting certain roads into the county road system, whereas it has been determined to be in the best interest of the public for the Pike County Fiscal Court to formally accept public roads into the official county road system. Whereas KRS 178.0101, paren 1, paren B, defines a county road as a public road which has been accepted by the Fiscal Court of a county into the county road system. Now therefore be it ordained by the Fiscal Court of Pike County, Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1, that the following roads, being public in nature, be and are hereby formally and officially accepted into the Pike County road system and shall hereafter be a part of said system. In District 1, Lucas Lane Drive, 670 feet by 12 foot wide. In District 6, Willie Bevins Road, 550 feet, 12 foot wide. That is a second reading. Require a motion, a second, and a majority vote.
You have a motion to have a second? Have a second. Magistrate Harris, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson. Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. This being the third meeting we've held in probably the last 20 days, we don't have a lot on that part of our agenda today. But next is Magistrate Road Work.
Motion.
Magistrate Anderson, have a second. Magistrate Robinson, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson. Yes. Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dodson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Next is magistrate comments.
I don't have any comments, Judge.
Magistrate Johnson, Magistrate Murphy, Magistrate Robinson, Magistrate Dodson.
Judge, is Damus working today? Have you talked to him about?
Damus is on vacation and Carl is off today. So we have two directors that's not with us.
I know they were
We
supposed
have
to.
Ms. Roberts here taking notes for him. So if you have something to take up with him, she will take it down for them.
I just wanted to find out if they done anything on the pool yesterday. They were supposed to met with the guy that installed the filters and turned the filters on to see whether they're working or not. And
Would you get that, Ms. Roberts, would you get that answer for us? If you have to call Mr. Ramey, you need to call him because this is important. I think that Magistrate Dotson asked this at the last meeting, that he requested that be done. Okay.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Magistrate?
A couple things, Judge. One, I'd like an update from our county attorney on the status of our open records, the lawsuit that was filed against the county for our open records request of UMG.
As you know, UMG appealed. I filed an answer, so I think at this point we're probably just waiting for a status conference to decide how to proceed, whether it's going to be done on the record or whether we're going to take evidence on it or not. So I will, I think I'll go ahead and file a motion for a status conference to see how the judge wants to proceed with it.
Is it going to be in Pike Circuit Court?
Yes, it's
Which
in
one of
Pike.
the judges will have it?
My recollection is Division 1 Judge Coleman, but I'll call you this afternoon to confirm that, but I'm reasonably sure on that.
Okay.
Magistrate Harris.
Yeah, the other thing, Judge, I read in the newspaper the other day that there had been some executive orders that were issued without the fiscal court's knowledge, and I know we talked about that earlier, and I just ask again that if there are executive orders that are issued from your office.
Those are public record in the clerk's office. Anybody can go in and see them. There are hundreds of them issued by not only my administration, but chief executive, but the others. Some are statutory. The executive orders are statutory.
Well, we just asked early on that we be made aware of what those executive orders are and that we receive a copy of those when you do it.
And Rose has part of them in her office, and the clerk's office has the others down the hallway.
Well, I don't want to have to file an open records request to find out what it is that the court is doing. So if you would send us, please, send the magistrates, the entire court, a copy of whatever order it is that's...
Probably issue 2 or 3 a day under the Kentucky statute that I'm required to do.
Okay, well, then I'd like to know what those are. So if you don't care to fax them to me, I would appreciate that very much.
No problem.
The other thing is, I noticed a couple of payments in our payment bill list for the Board of Assessments, and I don't know what that is. What is the Board of Assessment?
That is set up under the Kentucky statute. I think the county attorney would need to answer. Treasurer, go right ahead.
The PVA convenes a board who has a member of 4 people who are community members, 3 members that go over disputed assessments on their property and reason it out as to who was right and who's not, and then they get paid maybe $500. It's $1,000. I know we have to pay the full $2,000 up front, and we get $1,000 back from the state. Okay. When the clerk files it.
So is somebody appointed by the PVA?
I know last week I had a lady in my office, and there was Tackett, Chick knows her.
From Longford.
What was her name? Francis?
Frankie.
Francis Tackett was into my office, and she had been up before this board. And she said, as bad as I feel today, matter of fact, she had a cane with her, she was smiling. So I don't know, the board must have
ruled in her favor.
Well.
Magistrate Harris, if I may, I'm on that board, and I will go off this time. It's a 3-member panel. It is, in fact, in accordance with the statutory scheme appointed by the PBA. The sole function of that board is to meet once a year. We do it in 1 week. We have hearings assigned each of... we have a 3-day hearing schedule, and if any taxpayer, in accordance with that statutory scheme, is dissatisfied with the PVA assessment, they may come in and ask the appeals board to modify that assessment to take it down to what they feel that a fair assessment would be. Generally, they'll bring in pictures, they'll bring in proof that. Nobody's ever asked that it be raised in my 3 years, but as to why their property is not worth what they think that it is. And many times. It's kind of like a semi-judicial proceeding. It's very informal, but a lot of times there's an agreement worked out in the course of that hearing or thereafter with the PBA's office to adjust that. Furthermore, after that decision is made, the taxpayer is advised, and then there is a right to appeal to the state Board of Assessment. So it's part of the tax assessment appeals process. It is a 3-year term. I go off this time, so somebody else will be appointed.
So those are positions that they're appointed by the PVA.
Yes.
But we pay for it out of our budget.
Correct.
And that's something, that's a line item to money.
Line item.
Line item, and we get $1,000 back of the $2,000 we spend.
Okay.
Pay up front to get $1,000.
Gotcha.
Match it hard.
That's all I've got, Judge.
Judge, if I may, I had a
Right
question. I believe Bobby's working on getting a water truck. I just wanted to see what the status is on the water truck that we're trying to get.
We've had there.
Did they lose the election, Bobby? Zanesville, Ohio.
The board of supervisors up in Ohio that wanted to sell the truck up in Zanesville, one of them lost his election, so now they will not do anything with it. And they first started to have an auction and let it go anyway, and they decided Monday that it's not for sale. I found another one up in Pennsylvania that I'm trying to get some information on today. It's priced correctly if it'll start and run, and if we can get up there and get it or have it shipped down here. It's about 600 miles from here. So we'll know something. Hopefully this Francine Miller will call me today, and we'll find out a little more about this one up outside of Scranton.
Yeah, well,
Supposed to be a
it'll
good
be
truck.
a great.
It's an 87 model International, but it's a diesel, and it's got a stainless tank and pumps.
And we need it
It's
desperately.
priced right. We also need to get that gift from that coal company or whoever.
Judge
so we
Hayes
can.
is trying to get with
pay
the
for it.
coal company's attorney to make sure that we go ahead and get the check and get it in hand before they go ahead and give it to another agency for use.
If this one's still there, it's $10,000. It's priced correctly, and I think it'll cost us anywhere from $1,200 to $1,800 to maybe $2,000 to get it.
You're gonna haul it here
Back
on a
here.
low boy?
Judge, we were looking at either having Robbie take the low boy and get it, or have Ligon or someone just load it up there and haul it back down here for
I
us.
just now missed Mr. Lyons. Is he?
Because he's on vacation deer hunting, I hope he and Damus don't shoot each other.
We're trying to look at this cost on taking the county's low boy and seeing, just about how much a mile is it costing. Judging by that trip we went to Atlanta and picked up water or whatever a few years ago. Hopefully
Yeah,
I'll know
it's,
something this afternoon.
Desperate situation for those people over there needing water hauled to them. So, like I've said before, and the judge, it's a shame that we're in the 21st century and having to haul water to people yet,
Correct.
It's funny, Leo, there's very few of these water trucks out there that anybody's willing to let loose of unless you go up in that $40,000-$50,000 range.
Right. But
They think, hey, if we can't get much out of it, we'll just keep it. And I found out they're a little scarce out there.
We could probably go 13,000 if we could convince the company who's gonna pay for it.
This one's priced at 10 if it's still there.
Well, let's make sure we
Emailed her
try,
yesterday and
because
called her today, and I've not heard anything.
we
back.
lost our fire department who had volunteered to haul up there, which was Coal Run, and we appreciate them certainly of making their truck available and sending somebody with it. But every house they went to, they got cussed out and jumped on, and they was volunteering. So he
that's
just
the key there. It's
finally said,
volunteers.
"Look,
and you
I've had
can't
enough,
jump on volunteers.
trying to help people, and then every time I do, they jump on me. And I said, they're only volunteers. We had that problem with the truck going down that they fell out. The people did with the fire department, their fire department at Grapevine. We had that problem, Doug, if you remember. And then we continued to intervene in that, and the truck finally went down. Then we had Kemper, and they got jumped on enough. They finally said, no more. So We understand, Magistrate Murphy, and me and you understand more than anybody else because we get the calls. But I understand that we need to pursue this and pursue it as soon as we can. Any other question? If not,
Judge, I want to remind everybody too that there is a meeting this weekend at the Turkey Creek Volunteer Fire Department for the problems that they're having there with getting volunteers. They've got a great facility and great equipment, and a good bunch of people, not a bunch of people, but a few good people there that are working now. And they're having a community meeting this Saturday, and trying to raise some interest and get some more volunteers there, because the number of volunteers that they have, Doug, I believe, has fallen below the number that you're required to have.
we certainly want that fire department to be a viable fire department. I go back to Happy Chandler, and that was the Happy Chandler who was fire chief at Turkey Creek when the fire department was built, and he stayed there until his death and volunteered for that fire department. In that community, and I know what we, and I say the county had a part in Magistrate Harris in Upper Pond Creek. Doug, you remember, we had to almost start over, if you remember. And up to Grapevine, we had to start over and had to reorganize. And now you have two viable fire departments at Upper Pond Creek and one at Grapevine. So we need to certainly make sure that the community has this facility. It's something that's certainly needed. Their insurance rate would certainly, their insurance bill would go up.
Judge, I'll have to say one thing about Shelby Creek. We've got there at Dorton and at Shelby Valley, and Long Fort, and with the fire departments, they sleep with it. I mean, they love it, and they all get along. And if they're a fire, they're right there. Anytime you want to go out there at 8 or 10 o'clock at night, they're there doing something to the vehicles or thing. They sure do a good job of it. And the rescue squad, that Mullins boy and his crew, if anything happens, if a squirrel gets run across the road, if they call him, he'd go get it. I mean, that's the way they operate. And so they do a good job.
I had an opportunity to speak at the Veterans and the First Responders Veterans Day at the Expo Center. And it was certainly, and I did tell that crowd over there and people that was listening that Pike County had the best trained first responders of anywhere in this part of the country. And Doug, I commend you and your staff for the job that you've done with those fire departments. All of our firemen, I think there are about 700, are all certified. So I mean that is something. We look at the fact that this county is covered with 95% of water, and we're the largest county and land area in Kentucky. I relate that also to the fire departments that we have, the 26, and then the branches that we have, and all these firemen are certified. And Magistrate Harris, over in your district, when I went over to Big Creek to see all those young people, I'm talking about more than 10 who are active in that fire department over there, Doug, and it really makes you know that our communities are going to be, and I've said this before, as our schools get consolidated, and that happens around the country, that the fire departments, there's nowhere else to meet, and since we're such a rural county, and our fire departments are used for many different things, weddings, class reunions, right on and on and on. And so it is a meeting place. It is something that binds people together. As Magistrate Johnson said, you can go by these fire departments in this county anytime of the evening. You'll see people out there. It gives people something to do, a feeling of pride. They are our heroes, same as our veterans, and what a job they do and available to help us. We couldn't make it time of disasters. And Doug, you may want to speak to that.
Well, anytime we need them, they're there to help us, whether it's disasters or searches or whatever. They're Johnny on the spot. They never say no. They just say, "What do you need me to do?" and they go on.
Yeah, we just couldn't make it. And I know even when I went over to Belfry when we had the 2009 flood, first people I saw assisting Magistrate Harris and his people there was the fire department. Well, the fire department. That was delivering water, delivering food. So they are truly our first responders. In this day and time of tourism, then of course we certainly need them out there to be vigilant and to know what's going on and to have a plan. And I know that back in January of this year, I wrote a letter when I got a notice that they was having a earthquake summit in western Kentucky, and they requested that our staff come down in the system. And graciously, I said, certainly we'll send 2 people down to help you. But in that same letter, I said, next time you set one up for eastern Kentucky.
Yeah.
Because we are in a mining area, and we're on the fringe of Devonian Shale, and certainly we could raise havoc with us, not knowing that we was going to have an earthquake. And of course, that was, I would say this, it was earth-shaking for everybody that was in this building. And I mean, Mr. Carlton and I was meeting with 2 people on an energy project and had just introduced ourselves to them, and we haven't seen them since. Now, we've talked to them on telephone, they've emailed with us, but they haven't made it back. But no other statements. We'll have Madam Treasurer.
Authorize the necessary transfers and interfund transfers to pay the bills, payroll, health, and life insurance.
Motion.
Have a motion, have a second, have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson? Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Pass over the next item. Assistant County Attorney, would you please have the second reading and adoption of the budget amendment for fiscal year 2011-2012?
Yes, this is a second reading of a budget amendment which has been approved as to form and classification by the state local finance officer and duly advertised. An ordinance relating to, in summary form, an ordinance relating to fiscal year 2011-2012 annual budget and amendment thereof, whereas the Pike County Fiscal Court has realized unbudgeted receipts from the following funds, be it ordained by the Pike County Fiscal Court of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Section 1A, receipts. Total amended receipts of $3,358,350.67. Section B, appropriations, total amended appropriations of $3,358,350.67. That would be a second reading in summary form.
That'd be my motion. Have a second. Have a second, Magistrate Murphy. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Yes. Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yeah.
Mr. Harris? Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
Authorize payment of the expenditure approval list dated November 14th, 2011, and any other utility and telephone bills received before the checks are run, and authorize that the payment of election expenses, they were just received up in finance yesterday, be allowed to be inputted in order to pay the election workers and the rent and any other expenses that go along with the election.
Motion.
We have a motion. Have a second. Have a second, Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Yes. Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Abstain.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes.
This was brought up yesterday by Teen for Damus. It's a Billiter Construction, Tim Billiter, no Ken. As far as I know, it's only one L. Description of the work to be completed is serve as the certified installer for the installation of a new septic system for the daycare facility in Johns Creek located on Ford Mountain. This will include coordination with the Pike County Health Department, including completion of all necessary paperwork, consulting with all other parties involved, supervising in the installation of the replacement system, which utilizes the Fusion Series treatment system. All work should be able to be completed in 2 to 3 days, a total of $1,000. A Tim Billiter Construction at Stopover.
$1,000.
Judge, if I might say something, he called me yesterday and asked me who he needed to get in contact with over here at the courthouse. He said he'd done some work for Damus and he wanted to follow up and see if the paperwork were turned in the right place. I think he does some work for Mountain
Mr.
Water.
Dodson, he would have to be certified if he's.
UMG, and I
doing that
think he
type of
told
work.
me he went to school to be certified to do the fusion systems. So Damus evidently must have contacted him to have him do the.
Yes,
I
that would.
wonder, with that estimate we had the other day, wasn't it supposed to be UMG to do? Or
Judge Hayes,
now that I think about it,
you,
whose payment is this really responsible to?
Well, that one was brought to my attention, what is today? I guess Friday. Frankly, when we discussed, and we had the two meetings with Zora May, who's present here today, was at both meetings, there was never, ever mentioned a need to hire anybody else other than UMG, who was certified and who was to provide, as part of their price, a supervisor. And the plan was, as I expressed it to this court, Magistrate Dodson, that they would supervise with their certification, and we would install with our labor and materials. It was brought to my attention that Mr. Billiter was there with H2O, and I said, who authorized him? This is after the fact, by the way. And when I investigated it further, I learned that Damus, without my knowledge or authority or anybody else in the world, had taken it upon himself to bring in these people. Now, I had Damus in my office on Monday morning, and I sternly reprimanded him. He was also in those same meetings that I'm referring to, and not once was that ever referred to, that particular cost. It's, I believe, $1,000, is it not? And I said, Damus, you should have called me. You should have called somebody. You just don't make those decisions like that on your own. And you were in the meeting. You knew how this was to go down. Frankly, he just apologized. He said he made a mistake, and that's where we have it. So the project ended up costing us $1,000 more than it should have. But as I understand it, Billiter did come over there and do the work. The whole idea was for UMG to put a supervisor over there to tell us how to do what H2O or Mr. Billiter did. And so, the man apologized. I sternly and orally reprimanded him, and
you put that in his personnel file.
I will.
Any other questions?
There's one more bill. Doug Tackett just brought it in this morning. Authorization for him to attend the 2011 Governor's Emergency Management Workshop and Energy Summit, December 14th, 15th, and 16th, I guess in Louisville, Kentucky, at the Galt House. $40 registration fee and his lodging at the Galt House.
Madam Treasurer, I normally attend that, so you need to probably add my name to that.
And Judge Rutherford.
I don't know, Jeannie will tell me later whether I can go or not, but it is on my calendar. Am I correct, Jeannie? Okay. I do have a motion. Have a motion, Master Robinson. You have a second. Have a roll call vote, please.
Master Anderson?
Yes.
Master Johnson?
Yes.
Master Murphy? Yes. Master Robinson? Master Dodson?
Yes.
Master Harris?
Yes.
Judge Rutherford?
Yes, Madam Treasurer.
I have no further business.
I've got one other question on that. So the $1,000 extra that we're paying, does that include H2O as well? Does that include the work that H2O was doing there too? Or are we going to get another bill from H2O?
The $1,000 was an additional amount that I was not informed about, didn't know about until after the fact, and that was Damus's error in calling them in, which he was man enough to say, look, I made a mistake, and we all make mistakes. I
understand that, but I'm just asking, is this going to cover everything, or are we
covered
going to
in
get
the
another bill
budget or
from
beyond the
H2O? This is to Billiter. This
I
is to
have
Bill.
$15,000 in a line item for that
Yeah.
sewage construction, so this should be covered within what we had budgeted.
Correct.
The 10,000 and whatever to UMG, and now this.
Billiter is H2O. Okay, well that answers my question. That's what I didn't. I couldn't.
And
So-
that, they are a good
I don't
construction
think,
company.
I
There's
don't
no
think
doubt
so. I
about that.
think the Billiter boy, I think,
Very
does.
dependable construction company. Am I correct, Mr. Carlton? They've done work for us before on infrastructure.
Maybe the building
Zora, you know that
contracts with
company. Is Mr.
H2O.
Billiter H2O, or am I incorrect in that? Thank you.
Tim Billiter is H2O. Is that his name of his company? I thought that was another. They're in
Very,
partners.
very great, good company. They've done our work on the infrastructure.
He's a good person. I don't know. I just trying to figure out what's what. I know he called me and told me that he had done some work for Damus, and he wanted to know who
Yeah,
to bid.
they bid the infrastructure on over to the Scott Fork. Any other questions? We have to go into executive session. I don't know about personnel, but if anything personnel, we'll take it up. But we have to do it in regard to a contract. But we do have to have a closed session in regard to a contract.
Judge, the contract is not a proper reason. We're going into executive session to discuss between a public agency and a prospective employer coming to Pike County for negotiations that could affect their relocation or not
Correct.
relocating.
I wanted to
Pike
state
County.
that properly.
It's not for a contract.
We're under a confidentiality agreement with this company, and
I just
was
wanted to
trying
make sure, because you do have to state the reason you're going into executive session.
Right. So I wanted to make sure it
It's,
worded
it's
correctly.
actually
Thank you,
exception
Mr.
G
County
to
Attorney.
the
Did you do this?
Thank you.
executive session.
We'll have a motion,
Thank you.
Magistrate Harris.
So would F and G cover the purposes for which we're going into
What's
executive?
personnel is,
Personnel is F.
yeah, F and G.
F and G, okay. So I'll make the motion that we move into executive session to discuss specific personnel matter and discussions between a public agency and a representative of a business entity, and discussions concerning a specific proposal under subparagraphs F and G of 61.810.
Have a second.
Second.
Have a second, Magistrate Johnson. Have a roll call vote, please.
It's number 9. It's not on that paper, so it's number 9. Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson.
Yes, and I want to, next Thanksgiving, everybody get their belly full of turkey, because it's a time of the year for it. Have a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's on the same order. Magistrate Murphy. Yes. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dotson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
We'll have a motion to go back into regular session of the Pike County Fiscal Court. Have a motion from Magistrate Murphy. Have a second from Magistrate Johnson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson. Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dotson. Magistrate Harris.
Here.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Judge Hayes, would you give us a personnel report, please?
3 matters, Judge. First, a posted job, Packer truck driver, solid waste area number 5 at Stone, a 3H pay rate job, 2 bidders, both full-time employees, both qualified with CDLs. We recommend, Judge, for that position, Jonathan Williamson, who was the senior employee bidding. Next, we need approval of the court to terminate Michael Robinson from his position at road lot number 1 and to post his job because Mr. Robinson has notified us that he is unable to return to work per doctor's orders effective November the 15th, 2011. Finally, Judge, we need approval to move on a temporary basis Jack Hopkins to replace Tony Roberts as foreman at solid waste area number 3 at a 4A pay rate per hour effective November the 14th, 2011. Mr. Roberts is temporarily off on sick leave. That's it, Judge.
That is my recommendation and my motion. Do I have a second? I have a second. Magistrate Robinson, have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson.
Yes.
Magistrate Johnson. Magistrate Murphy. Magistrate Robinson. Magistrate Dotson.
Yes.
Magistrate Harris.
Yes.
Judge Rutherford.
Yes. Mr. County Attorney. To have a motion to adjourn. Have a motion from Magistrate Murphy, second from Magistrate Robinson. Have a roll call vote, please.
Magistrate Anderson, Johnson, Murphy, Robinson, Dotson, Harris. Judge Rutherford.